Hello there, my friends. It's Jen Pitta with By the Shore Stamping. Welcome into another edition of Teach Me Tuesday. I am excited to share with you today another card featuring this really cute stamp set. I'm actually going to be selling some of my cards at the Cape Symphony concerts this weekend, and so I've been working a lot with this one. I used this one also for Stamp of the Month last month, and so I thought I would show you my extra card, the perk card for Stamp of the Month last month, and show you how I made that, because that's one of the ones that they don't get to make. They actually get it as a gift usually, but so they don't really see how it's put together. So I thought I would do that for you today. So let me go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of thick Whisper White. Whenever I use white as a base piece, I like to use the thick Whisper White instead. I'm going to actually trim this down just a tiny bit. It looks like it's a little off center here. So let me just fix this. There we go. All right, so first up, I'm actually going to open this because it's going to be easier to stamp. I'm going to use the cute little music staff here, and I'm going to use Petal Pink ink. So for my Stamp of the Month class, I actually did 5 cards. This is the 5th one, and we used this color combo. This is right from the Parisian paper, the Parisian, I think it's Specialty Parisian Blossoms, I think it's called. So that's the one that I used for... or that's the color combo I used, just the colors from that paper. I'm going to use a small little piece of the paper, but not too much. So I'm going to take the music staff, and I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. And I'm just going to stamp that on the cardstock a few times, actually, kind of creating my own background. And I'm going to leave a little space in between so it looks like music. If you put them too close together, it looks like notebook paper, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what you're looking to do. It's actually, this would be a really good stamp to have for journaling in your scrapbooks too. See, you could write using these lines. Of course, you'd have to write kind of small, but it would work. All right, so there we go. There's the music staffs. I kind of got them a little close together on that last one, but that's okay. And then I'm going to use a couple of the little music notes. So we have this one, we have a little single one, and then we have one with the flag. And you know what? I am a former music student, but I don't really remember any of the proper terminology for any of this stuff. It's been a while. So I played flute actually for many years actually. I started in, I think, 2nd or 3rd grade. And then I played until I was a senior in high school. And then that was the end of that. I never played again. And it's funny because I actually broke my flute the very last day of football season. It was my last game, actually, of the season. I'm not sure if it was the last game of the season, but it was my last game as a senior. And I dropped my flute, so those of you that know me know that I'm pretty accident prone most of the time. So I dropped my flute, and not only did I drop it, I actually drop kicked it. So when I dropped it, I then kicked it, and it hit the wall and busted the, I think it was the, I don't remember now. I did know then what key it was, but I don't remember now. I want to say it was a B, but I don't know. Anyway, so I busted that, so I couldn't play it because it was broken, and it squawked whenever you tried to play that note. And it was before the game had actually started, so I couldn't play in my final game. But honestly, I didn't really play all that much anyway because I was mostly pretending. I'm telling you all my secrets today. Anyway, I'm going ahead and I'm just doing all of these little notes here. I'm skipping this one because we're going to cover it anyway, so I'm not going to spend the time to actually do the notes here. Let's do 2 of these just because I can, and it takes up less time. I'm wondering if I'm making some creative song here. Somebody want to try and play it? All right, so that's my background. Then I have Petal Pink is the other color combo in here. This is 1.5 by 4, and I'm just going to tape that down. So now you can see why I didn't do that one, because I'm going to tape that down right in the middle. Actually, first, before I do that, I'm going to use a small piece of that Parisian paper that I told you about, the specialty paper. You can't really see it much. You might be able to see it in here. See the glimmer on those, this foil in these paper. That's why it's a specialty paper. So you can see that little bit of the Eiffel Tower there has some foil on it. I'm going to go ahead and just, whoops, tape that down here in the middle. Like that. And I'm going to trim that off because it's a little... miscut there. And then I can go ahead and attach this. I don't know if you can see that my tape was not adhering right. That's because I'm pushing too hard. So if you ever have that happening, that's usually because you're using too much pressure. I just replaced that one, and so it's like really loose. And so I'm pressing too hard because I'm used to using... When it gets down to the bottom, it gets really tight, and so you kind of have to put a little more pressure on it, but in the beginning, it's really loose, and you don't need to, and when you do, it kind of misses certain spots. Just a little tip for you, in case you've ever noticed that little trick I discovered. So now I'm going to use You're the Music in My Heart as the sentiment, and I have a piece of white cardstock that is 3 by 1 inch, and I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle here. Like that. So you got your greeting, and I'll put this away, and I'm gonna just do a banner end on one side. So I'm just gonna slit here and do corner to center and corner to center, and then that's gonna go on with, I have a 2-inch Crumb Cake circle, which I'm going to put on with some dimensionals. So let's go ahead and grab some of these, like that. And then I'm going to stick this on like that. And now this one's going to overlap this. So I'm going to actually put regular adhesive on this side and then a dimensional on the other side. I'm hoping I didn't put that too close to the edge. We'll see. Let's put a dimensional here and one here. I went for a walk this morning and it was super, super cold, but it was nice to be back on the beach again. Now the sun, of course, is coming out as I'm recording this, but I needed to get an early start. I've got lots to do this week. I'm behind on so many things. I shared in my email yesterday to my paper share friends that I had all my paper share stuff cut, and most of the cards were cut and prepped as well, and I had a little incident with some water on my desk, and let's just say I had to redo a lot of work, so that was kind of a bummer. So that put me behind. Not to mention I got a funk on top of a funk a couple weeks ago that slowed me down too. So it's been a really great winter in terms of storms. We really haven't had much in the way of storms, but it's been really tough in the way of sickness for me. I think me working in a preschool now and not having the insulation of my little house when I worked by myself all the time, I'm, out and around people a lot more, so I'm getting a lot more sickness this year. All right, so I just stamped the little G clef on Pool Party cardstock using Pool Party ink, and now I'm going to cut that out. So I'm just going to take this here and cut that off, and then I can go ahead and cut this. This is a little bit fussy. The hardest part is that little swirly at the bottom there, but I didn't get super crazy about it. I do like to kind of die cut some of these elements because it just looks really cute, but it can be a little finicky. Some of the girls in class were not happy with me because we fussy cut a couple of times, but they were all happy with the cards when they were done, so that's good. But it's like tying bows and coloring. You either love them or hate them. Although I can't say that I've found anybody that loves tying bows. But yes, there are definitely people that love to color and hate to color, and people that love to fussy cut and hate to fussy cut. So it's a love-hate relationship. I personally don't mind either. I find it actually kind of relaxing. Although I will tell you that now that I'm getting of a certain age, the fussy cutting and the coloring, especially if it's nighttime and it's not as light out, it gets a little bit harder for me nowadays. So, because my eyes start to bother me and I can't really see well. Sometimes they start to go a little wonky, so that can certainly impact your feelings about those two things, I could imagine. All right, so you can see I didn't get super particular about that. I just kind of swirled in there a little bit. All right, so now we're going to take this, and I'm going to pop this up too. So we'll use a little bit of dimensionals on that. I'm going to use a big one in the middle here, and let's see if I have some minis. I do. I'll use a little mini here. Did you know that we had mini dimensionals? So you can see they're much smaller than our regular ones, but they're really great for like those little tiny spots. So we also have black dimensionals now too. So when you're working on projects that are a black cardstock base, that's really handy too. So I'm just going to put this right along the edge of that white paper so it looks like it's tucked under there. And the final step is to add a little bit of Wink of Stella. I love this stuff. So I'm going to just go ahead, add a little bit of this to the heart here. You do want to be careful when you're using Wink of Stella because it can act as a watercolor paintbrush. So if your ink is super wet, like if you just stamped it, it can run it and bleed it, particularly with darker colors, so you want to be careful. And there you have it. There's your finished card. So it's super cute, super simple. Other than the fussy cutting, it's really fast and easy. So this is one that I'm actually going to make a bunch of, and will be part of a card pack set that I'm going to give, not give away, but sell this weekend for the benefit of the Cape Symphony. So hopefully that will go well. I'm a little nervous about that. There's 3 concerts of 1,400 people each concert, so we'll see. All right. Well, thanks so much, as always, for watching. I will be back again next week with another edition of Teach Me Tuesday. As always, if you liked this video, please be sure to hit the like button below, and even better, if you can go ahead and click that big red subscribe button, that would make my day. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.